Hello, it's nice to have you with us on the show Conversations. I wish I wasn't laughing, but I think it's a bit of my default setting to be happy. And I also wish that everybody gets to be that way. It's conversation, like I said earlier. Our promo, ran in with something that I met two people arguing about, and that's a hobby. How can one's hobby be that which beats up the weaker sex? The two people really had the argument going, and I'm wondering, I kept wondering, even though I didn't communicate, I didn't talk to them, I kept wondering, what's wrong with going to the gym? What's wrong with buying a punch bag, in the house and get to use it? Why do you need to beat your wife? Why do you need to beat your child? Why do you need to beat your house help? Because you think you have the energy and they don't. To a large extent, the beating does not just end with the physical bruises. A lot of times, people, lose their lives. Children are rendered motherless from such careless hobbies or bad hobbies. Femicide is ongoing, and at a point we thought it was going away little after COVID, but it seemed to be spiking even higher than we thought. And we decided that we're not going to keep quiet. We are a bunch of women sitting down here. Even the man who will be joining us later, Dr. Ejikoji, he says he is a he for she. And all of us are not sitting on ours and let this happen. We're going to turn around the narrative. Again, I am Elizabeth Abaya and this conversation. Hello, Devon. Sorry, did I say your name? I'm not sure I know your name. I saw you this morning. I said you're coming for women empowerment. You look it.
I don't have too many black dresses in my wardrobe. I don't favor black at all. I don't like it because I'm already dark skinned to begin with. But lately I decided I'd throw in a few black pieces. So, and in line with what we're talking about today, which is rather serious, I decided I may as well pick a somber color, something very conservative. My name is Devahama Mom, and I'm a media consultant.
All right. She is actually very strong on the topic of today. I know everybody is because it could be you, it could be mine, but let's get to meet you.
My name is Maimuna Umi Abdullahi, Coach Didi. I'm a mental health coach.
Coach Didi, I have had you on this set for several times running. I have never seen you hug a pillow. Are you emotional today because of what we're discussing? Why are you hugging a pillow?
Honestly, just like that. I'm just feeling it.
All right. All right, Joy.
My name is Joy Ogbenachi. This is one topic I really actually want to talk about. Yeah.
Yes, it's true because I have never seen anything that is very annoying as watching someone you love beaten up, sometimes to the point of threat because you think the person is helpless. And we keep wondering, how does this start? Within the house, our team, the winning team, Christy, Melumi, and every other person, went around this discussion, and a story was told. They were able to manage to do the reenactment with Semben. Let's see it.
Oh, my wife would have been 60 today. Oh, man, why did I slap her? Why did I kick her? Why did I beat her? And my children were telling me I should stop taking alcohol. I was still drinking. Now she's dead. Oh, God. Now my children are not talking to me. There's nobody to keep me company again. If I was younger, I would not do this thing. I would have stopped taking alcohol. I would have been loving my dear children. Oh God. Now there's nobody with me. God, take me away now. Take me. It's too lonely. Hot temper took her away. Jealousy. I just heard one small story. I just ignited, erupted. With the excessive alcohol in my blood, I was pushed to slap her, pushed to kick her. Where is she today? She's no more. So then, think before you drink.
It's really sad because as much as it is a reenactment, the story is one story that a lot of people, if you look inward, you will see that it has actually happened. If not in your environment, it's actually in your family. I have had an experience, and there was one we were talking about that some people have managed to close. I don't know. I'm just thinking, if it happened to you, not you, somebody you know, how do you feel about it?
I remember an instance of somebody close to me that got into a situation that was a bit similar. And in her own case, what happened was the husband handed her over to his side chick to beat up, and the side chick came with gangsters. And while they were doing this, because she dared challenge him for keeping a relationship, it was like, oh, you want to meet her, out of anger, yeah. And he picked up the phone and called this woman, and she turned up with thugs, and they beat this person I know to a pulp. If he's watching, I need him to know that I'm still struggling to forgive him.
Try.
Because this was somebody I was close to.
Try.
He's not in jail?
Which dirty jail? Is it not Nigeria we're talking about?
Okay.
This happened years ago. This was about 11, 12 years ago. You understand? It's because of how close I am to the lady in question that it's still, till date, when I think about him, I'm not okay with myself. It would have been bad enough if he had beat her up himself. That would still have been bad, because at least, but something might kick in at some point. Because most marriages start from a place of love. Something might hold him back at a point. This man called his side chick. She turned up with thugs. And when they were in the process of beating up his wife, he left. He left. So it's not, if you dig into your memory a little bit, you will be able to think up a circumstance that you're aware of somebody close to you.
Of course.
Or something that might have happened to you, or is currently happening to either a very close friend of yours, a colleague, a sister. So it is prevalent. And there are studies that have shown that there are women that believe it is right and proper for their husband particularly to chastise them.
By flogging?
Yes, yes. That it is.
What kind of love is that?
Not even love. The same way. Hang on. The same way your parents have authority over you to chastise you if you are wrong. When you marry, your husband has that same authority to strike you. And there are women, especially in our rural areas, who believe this firmly. Then you also have women who think it is a sign of strength on the man's part when he brutalizes you. It is a mark of love when he strikes you for wrongdoing. So women are also complicit in the abuse.
Gatekeepers of patriarchy.
Okay, what about when he kills you? Is he also a sign of love?
Of course, they don't avert their mind to the possibility of that happening. But I have unfortunately heard women who say things like,
Sorry, Dr. Ejike is just joining us now. Doc, I know that for a reason you have been sitting behind,
you're welcome,
and even though you're not in this on the camera, you've been listening. I'll just give you a minute or two to cool off, and you're the he for she, right? And then after that, we will be coming back to you. But you were saying something, Devon?
Yes. I lost my chain of thought.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's leave it and get to Memuna. And I know this may sound crazy, but then you are a mental health coach, and in your dealings, you handle women, you handle men. I'd like to know, can you articulate certain reasons why men, beat up the women around them, not just their wives?
Well, I would share the story of one of my coaches who shared his own story. sometimes I think there's a cycle of trauma. There's a cycle.
Cycle
Yeah,
of trauma.
yeah.
Oh wow.
Because most men, not all, who end up being wife beaters, watch their fathers beat their mothers.
True.
Yes, many of them. They
But
saw it.
I thought that if I don't like a thing done, you know, when it's my turn, I would not want to do it.
That's what we would expect. But the thing is, a child grows up seeing his mother being beaten by his father when she does something wrong. So over the years, he's programmed to believe that when a woman does something wrong, the best way to correct her is to beat her. Now,
Wow.
he hates it. He hates it. And he will vow that he will grow up and be a better man. I will never hit my wife. And then one day, he gets angry and reflex. He hits her. Why? Because his programming tells him that when you do wrong, you are being hit. He may regret it after that, but he's done it. It's not something, it's a programming, but you can unlearn it. You can unlearn it. But the truth is, we are all programmings. What we've experienced over the years shape the way we think. So sometimes I think it's default. You can work on it, but it does happen many times when you go into the history of this man, you find out that he has experienced trauma as a child, especially gender-based violence. And then sometimes I think it's just something that happens to everyone, because even I'm not a man, but I have hit my kids before. So sometimes when you're angry, you
hit your kids before. You
Yes.
hit your kids constantly.
No, I hit my kids before. I used to hit because
Okay,
look,
now
again,
you don't hit
No, I
anymore.
don't. I've received sense. But the thing is, when I was growing up as well, I experienced being hit as a correction. It's a programming. So by the time I became a mother, I would also hit my kids as a correction. But then I received sense. I realized that the hitting wasn't working, and now I talk. And with our entitled kids who even talk back, when you tell them to do something, they will say why. So remember, just try as a child. Remember when you would you say why to your parents? They will remove your mouth.
The why will be spelled on
So
your head.
it's, I think
my
that's it.
dad was a bit unconventional. He would demand that I should ask why
Wow.
he told me to do something.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I grew up with that approach, and now people say, oh, she's argumentative, she's rude, she's this. But that's how I was raised. If I was given an instruction and I didn't want to probe further, my father would call me back and say, I told you to do this, 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 and this. I've never asked you to do this before. And you didn't bother to find out why.
Wow, that's
So
new.
That's new, seriously. Joy, what's your take on this?
What's my take on this? I think I had my designer actually, she turned 40, and we're practically women all sitting some days ago, and this topic came up, and somebody said, oh, you know, it's normal.
Normal?
If he beats you, that means he loves you.
that's where I was going.
Yeah,
on
it says he loves me, that's why he beats me. And I just think they're sick. Yeah, you know, the sad part is you not knowing that you're sick. You know, so if you don't know you're sick, how can you be cured? It's luckily I think we were lucky, even though I was in the barracks, because I had this perception growing up that the thing they always used to tell you, the military man is beating his wife, is this. It was a lie. In that uniform, they were very soft. Because I think my father was a bit calmer with me than my mother. Because all my mother, you do anything, bye, you know, and all that. But after a while, they now knew that there were things you loved the most. They will keep it away from you. So you now know that, look, because if you think that you do certain things, and what's the action is beating, I say, after all, they will beat me. Something happened some weeks ago. It was on the social media, and I always tell people, make sure you leave a violent relationship. I'm talking about the Olympian. I love sports a lot, and I watched her in Paris, and I thought she was good. You know, she has this firepower.
The Ugandan.
Yes, the
Yes.
Ugandan one. And you're dating, even though the guy looks a bit queer, and I think she was paying the bills, she left the relationship. She had 2 kids from somebody else. And she came back from church, and this guy just raised her with petrol, and he put the lights.
I read that thing. I felt so
80%
pained.
burned. And after how many days?
She died.
She died. So
Updates.
Yeah, she's
Dead
dead.
too.
Yeah.
dead too.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
dead.
didn't
too.
hear
You see, let me
that.
tell you.
Because he
Yeah.
sustained burns too.
He's because he got, because when he
Yeah.
was putting the petrol.
Maybe he actually wanted to
No,
kill.
he wanted to die as well. Because most of the time, people say, "You would, if I can't have you,
Nobody will.
Nobody else can have you. So both of us will die." It's happening. We're seeing it. Luckily for us, social media tells us a lot of things. But I'm sick and tired of church saying, "Why do you
cannot-
leave
Your marriage.
your marriage?" That place, that's for me, that's the point, that's the place I want us to come. That God says, it's not God. You cannot, because you see, the thing is that you might die. Because I think yesterday, I don't know what I was doing, I was just casually going on somebody's podcast, and the lady said the man beats her for 6 hours. And the guy
And she was sitting down there for 6 hours.
no, he beats her
He wouldn't-
for 6 hours. Unfortunately for her, she left Nigeria. She went with him to London. And you know what these people do? They cut you from your family. Because there are so many people who don't talk to their families. Their husbands don't let them. So you are in that terrible relationship. He beats her. And she says that when he's beating her, the guy is
Happy.
happy. It's things are happening. And the worst part, he was a pastor.
Okay, I recall the story.
Yeah.
I remember the
Yeah.
story. You know, it's sad, and at this moment, I really do feel pity for Dr. Ejike, because you're the only man here. You have a lot coming to your plate. But I'm sure the members of the public first will want to know who you are. Could you, identify yourself for them?
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Sorry I came in a little late.
No problem.
My name is Dr. Ejike Oji. I chaired the Management Committee Association for the Advancement of Family Planning, and then also the Civil Society Focal Point for FP 2030. But most importantly, I pride myself as a women's rights activist. I'm also a forensic medical expert. I train doctors and nurses on how to manage rape victims and collect forensic medical information.
All right, so I needed you to, say all of that about yourself, by yourself, as much as I know them, which was why we invited you, because there's a whole lot going on. And the first time I met you, you were introduced as a he for she, meaning that as much as you're physically, physiologically male, you have a lot of, sympathy for the female gender, and we really appreciate that. Okay. Now, being a man, as much as you also think for the women, why do you think your gender take pleasure in punching, sometimes even killing the people they claim to love? Is it really love?
Well, I like to look at it from three lenses, so three lenses, I guess. Number one, I've listened to my sisters here about their experiences from what people have been saying and all that. So let me first of all start from the position of culture. Over the years, before now, the tradition, the norm is that a man can beat his wife, and it's normal.
It's normal?
It's normal.
Yeah, that's the culture.
Culturally, it was
Culturally,
normal. That's what he
let's
said.
face
Oh,
facts.
wow.
Yeah.
All our culture?
All
Yes,
cultures.
all cultures.
Even the Igbo culture are now saying that is the best culture. It was the norm.
Yeah.
So, and I think she made the mention about the kids, even herself growing up, seeing that as norm. So that's one lens. The second one is people who are mentally ill. Mentally ill. And then in that mental illness, there are two categories. One is they are just ill, they're just mentally ill. The other one is that they are pushed to. They can't handle their emotions, and they can easily degenerate into violence. They have anger issues, anger problems. But let me come to the first definition of said it's not norm. What people do not know is that human beings learn by apprenticeship. Yeah. And what do I mean by that? As you're growing up, as a young man, you're looking at your father, you're learning how your father do things. As a young lady, you're growing up, you're looking at your mother, how your mother do things. And that's why, let me give you these two categories. Most young men, their fathers were violent on their mother, end up being that way too.
Yeah.
Most women who saw their mother being battered, when they go into a marriage, they feel it's okay.
It's okay.
And they endure it.
They endure it.
Yes.
Voila.
And then even their mother will tell you, that was how your father was beating me.
Did I
He
run
will
it
soon
again?
get tired. So it's acceptable. And I'll tell you how this is so important that people should understand it. And then maybe from that angle, we'll now start finding lasting solutions. So if we agree that this is a norm, so that means it's no more norm. Things have changed. You know, the context of everything has actually changed. December last year, my first son, I was coming out into my office. He was coming in. He said, "I sit down, I want to talk to you." And I looked at him. Are you okay? You are ordering your dad to sit down, you want to talk to me. He said, "Dad, please sit down. I want to talk to you." So I sat down. So he looked at me. He said that anything I'm doing now and anything I'm saying now, you taught me.
But,
How did your mind feel? Your blood pressure rose?
No, he didn't. I'm a learner. I was keen to learn from what my son wanted to say.
Okay.
Then he said to me that every day you say, this is not the country you were born. This is not the country you grew up. So, first lesson, Dad, remember, I'm giving back what you gave me. He said to me, "Dad, you have to learn that your country doesn't exist anymore." In other words, you have to relearn our country. This is our country now, the present day country. You have to relearn this country, develop skills that will make you survive, because the way you're going, we don't want to lose you early. So, that in it sums up what I'm trying to say. The way we have done things before, our fathers thought it was okay, the culture felt it was okay. It wasn't that the men hated the women.
Yeah.
I want to underscore that. But however, things have changed. Let me give you a simple example too. I like to illustrate this with specific examples. 2 years ago, I was in Adamawa, Yola. I went to train doctors, midwives, and some police officers on how to manage rape victims. Now, the training is on 3 parts. One, to train the doctors and nurses on how to give medical treatments. In other words, if there are injuries, you treat the physical injuries and all that. Prophylaxis, give things to prevent pregnancy if there was suspicion there might be pregnant. And then also do preventive treatment for prophylaxis for HIV and all those kinds of diseases. Then the third part is to do psychosocial counseling and eventual support. But the fourth part is to also get the woman's consent to take the information you got there into the courtroom to get the assailants to be prosecuted properly. But however, in doing that, I always have a session, because you have to understand the culture of the people so you can contextualize the way they behave. And that's one thing Nigerians always forget. Culture is so strong.
Sure.
Most of the religious things that we see, we say is religion. It's not religion, it's the culture. So, as I was doing the cultural context of how do you people see rape in your environment, I don't want to mention the tribe in Adamawa, because they translated both Adamawa and Mborono. A young doctor raised his hand and said, "Dr. Oji, let me tell you about my tribe. Do you know my tribe? If anybody wants to be a big person, a man, maybe, let's give you an example, you want to be a House of Assembly, House of Red, you want to come, governor, you want to be a king, you are expected to go and rape a woman."
I don't want to hear.
Are you hearing that?
No.
You are expected to go and rape a woman. I said, "Beg your pardon?" And then the other members of his tribe that was in that said, "Yes, I agree with him, it's true." So you see, the young man who now is aspiring catches a woman, rapes her. In his head, he's not doing anything wrong. He is doing what is right.
No, what does the rape do for the person?
Power. Gives you a sense of power.
That is a culture.
Yeah.
So,
It's power.
so we need to understand that there are a lot of things we have to help people unlearn that in the modern contextual environment, those things are now crimes. So that's where, if you don't start from this, if you say, catch him, punish him, in his head, why the hell are these people punishing me? I didn't do anything wrong. So a process of information, public education, community engagement, and the process of unlearning some of these horrible things have to be done. Let me end in this particular intervention I'm doing. When I was the chief of party of IPAS, an international organization in women's health and women's rights, I used to go to America because our headquarters is in America, about 4 times a year. So, and when I go, I intervene, I work with the Nigerian community. My friends, my relations, I interact with them. And I found out that Igbos had almost the highest rate of divorce in America. Yeah. Igbos. And then it became something interesting. And I started looking into it. And I found out the simple fact. Here in Nigeria, a man, an Igbo man, is supposed to provide everything for his wife. Mm-hmm. That's the culture. Provide. And if you remember, some of you remember what was happening before the Civil War, you see this beautiful, attractive, well-dressed, expensive, even drive, probably a Cadillac. When you look at his son, you see her husband, you see her husband, maybe in a shirt and a short and riding a bicycle. That was the picture. You get the point? Now, fast track to modern times. The young man got to America, doing odd jobs, got some money, borrowed some money, comes here, marries a doctor, a nurse, takes her back to America. Now, the young lady in her head is expecting that Igbo man she knew in Nigeria. But she doesn't know that things have changed. The young man has brought her. The man will work probably 18 hours every day, put her through a nursing school. She gets a certificate, and nurses are well paid. And then the girl starts working 18 hours also a day, earning about $32 to $40 an hour. So the young man now says, this is the time to rest. He comes home, sits in the house, crosses his leg, and the wife will come in. Mama, I'm back. Oh, my husband has not eaten. Fast track to Nigeria. Has not eaten, rushes into the kitchen, prepares food, brings to the man, and the man eats. Now, the one I saw, that I nearly slapped the man, I'm telling you. The girl came in, brought food. The man had a small distance, put his leg on there. And the woman brought and served him water. He washed his hands.
What's wrong with going to the sink?
After finishing, washed his hand. The girl came and listened. I now rose. The young man that took me there said, man, you're crazy. Do you know what doing 18 hours it is in American hospital? And then you are sitting here, and this girl is serving you as if she's your servant. So my friend said, please, I said, no. But what I'm trying to say is that as the girl is doing that, it's okay
with
for her.
With time, she's going to get
with
tired.
time, and what normal happens with
and
time,
she will revolt.
She starts resenting the man.
Mm-hmm. Does she already have papers?
She buys, some do have. Okay. And she will now be the one paying the rent, the mortgage, everything. The cars, the children in school. So one day, the woman will wake up and say, what the hell is going on here? And start resenting the man. In one occasion, the woman sent her husband to the basement. And then what happened? There are so many horrible crimes. Occasionally, the women also overstep. They will bring a man to the house. The man is in the basement. Mm-hmm. In one particular case, the man came up.
There was a case that trended a while. I think it was last year. Yeah, it's still the same issue. Yeah. The man married a nurse, and hopefully the nurse will help him make money. Exactly. And the money wasn't coming as he expected. He killed the woman and also killed himself after calling the emergency.
This particular one, the mother-in-law was in the house. He waited. The wife went to work. He went, macheted the woman to death, left her in the room. When the wife came back, welcomed her, took her up to the room. She saw her mother. She killed her there.
And then killed himself.
Not only that, no. She carried the woman, brought her out, tied her legs to their SUV, and was driving through the is in the prison.
Because they didn't give him
thank God
money.
she was already dead. When I saw that story, I thought
Oh, you
she
heard
was
the story.
alive when
Good.
he did the dragging.
No, he had killed her. So this will tell you the extreme, and what is the problem is that people refuse to unlearn. People refuse to know that the environment has changed. So that is it. Then the other second part I was talking about, the mental illness. We must identify that some people are ill and then they should receive
That's if they
Accept that they are
Accept.
ill.
No, somebody that
Sometimes
is
they
ill
don't
will
have-
never
yeah,
know
they
that
don't
he's
know. They
not
don't
ill.
know.
Yeah,
You know,
that's the thing. Most
mentally,
people that are
they don't
mentally
know.
ill
The
don't
people
know.
that
Somebody
are
has
mentally
to-
ill are the ones that-
Now, I'd like to
But
know.
some are plain criminality and they should be dealt as such.
Yes. How do we, women, identify men that are, I don't know if they are ill or criminals, but, apparently wife batterers and possibly murderers? How do we spot
For
them?
me, it doesn't matter whether you are being criminally minded or whether na Satan behind they do you want to a demon don't possess you, whether they mad, they crazy. The important thing is, do you do it? I don't want to know
It's
the
not
reason why you are
acceptable.
doing it. And in many instances, nowadays, in many cultures, arranged marriages don't exist anymore. You date. And many women see these things
Yeah, they see the red
during the
flags.
dating process or courting process. Small thing, he flares up, he screams, he shouts, he's intimidating you. Small thing, okay, he called you, you missed his call 3 times, therefore you are doing this thing with somebody else, he sees you, he slaps you and all this. And then you are there telling yourself, oh, it's because he loves
will
you, that's why
change.
he struck you. It's not even a matter of he will change. He loves me, that's why he struck me. And usually there are flashes of these things, and these girls enter with their eyes wide open. They've already started experiencing the violence
It's love.
before the thing went anywhere, before you introduced him to your family. He showed himself early enough. I have a video in my phone where a young man filmed himself. There's this young lady. I want to assume she probably spent the night in his house. She's leaving. And we don't see him. He's off screen because he's the one handling the camera. And he calls her back. He orders her to come back. Outside in broad daylight, tells her to kneel down. Why? Don't argue with me, kneel down. Baby, what did I do? Kneel down. Don't disobey me, blah, blah, blah. And she kneels down.
Is she crazy?
And this is a young lady,
She's
probably in her
submissive.
early 20s. And I said to myself, this one that is kneeling down
She's
in public.
submissive. She wants to marry.
She's submissive.
No,
Yeah,
she wants to get
marry.
married.
Yeah, she wants to
This
marry.
one-
She wants to marry.
Hang on, this one that is
Good.
doing all this for somebody who I'm definitely sure has not paid a dime on her. Her parents probably don't know of his existence. If her mother tells her, please help me to do my laundry, she'll get an attitude. But here is a young man who has, somebody who has something to offer will not even do that to you.
Exactly.
It's these riffraff that don't know left from right, that need to catch clout with that kind of stupid behavior, telling you in broad daylight to kneel down for what you don't even know whether you. Then after she knelt down and he had established that
Tell her to stand,
she's
get up.
submissive to him, she
up.
respects
Now stand up.
him, blah, blah, blah. He told her to get up and she should never leave the house without using her body spray. Then he proceeded to tell her, lift this, put body
That
spray,
makes,
lift,
she
now you
stinks
can
then.
go. And then she left. That's the kind of thing our daughters are subjecting themselves to. You see, those of you that are Christian, when God spoke of submission, he wasn't talking about boyfriend and girlfriend, though. He was talking about husband and wife. Yes, by all means, you should show, if you're dating somebody or courting them, you should show them that respect, that it should be mutual.
Yeah.
It should not be that the person will override your common sense. He is the one now instructing you when to eat, when not to eat, when to take your bath, when not. That is not
don't
it. That
monitor
is not
spirit.
submission.
You know the thing
Submission
is, just this
is
morning I
meant
was
for
doing
the
a video.
context of marriage, not
That's the
boyfriend and
typical
girlfriend.
narcissist for you. That's the typical narcissist who wants the authority of a king, but the accountability of a toddler. Kneel down there. Do that. Do that. Don't ask me anything. Don't question me. It's narcissist.
For absolutely
You know,
nothing.
No,
Joy, you were going to say
I
something.
wanted to say something. You know, most of the times when we're here, I try to use myself as an example. You know, I don't want to say somebody else's story. And years ago, just some years ago, and you see this thing about what does society say about you when you're not married? You're a failure, you're this, you're that. They define you.
Yeah.
And that is why so many people are in this mess. And they think it is okay. Because even your parents are the ones that will tell you, they kill. It's okay. It's
Mothers
fine.
particularly.
Yeah. What will people say if my daughter has left her marriage and all that? And I had an experience. Here I came from a home that was loving. And I have to get married. And first, the man said, he likes to eat pounded yam.
Pounded.
I said, okay, you pound the yam. At least that one, he will serve himself. Okay. Which I thought it was fine, it was okay. Even though I came from a home where they said a woman should not be treated, she shouldn't be beaten. So those things were already in my head. So I knew that in every relationship, I took it head on. And the next thing one day, the guy likes to eat, the worst part was that he doesn't even like blended pepper. He likes it when you pound the pepper.
Hey, Hannah, what is the difference?
What's the difference?
He wants to see the seed.
See, you do
he wants to see the seed.
A food processor can do that.
No. See,
I will do dissection, remove seed one side for you.
Who feels that she has grown past the age for marriage, and you see a guy who is okay. That's why when you said the guy is nothing, the ones that are okay, they're even worse than the ones that. And I just he likes to eat fish. I like to eat chicken. So I used the spoon for the fish to turn the chicken.
Kabula.
And what happened? I got a slap.
And it's not as if he has an allergy.
No, I got a slap.
Just for mixing.
I am not a small woman in size and in, and he dared to do that to me. I'm a woman that I'm empowered. So here we're looking at two things. Some that are not empowered, some that are empowered. But that day, he knew that I was brought up in the barracks.
You showed him?
Oh, yes, I did.
Went wild.
Oh, yes, I did. And the funny thing, I knew I made a mistake because there's something my father used to tell me. If you meet certain people, man or woman, and every day you go to their house, their driver, he has changed his driver.
Yeah.
He has changed his cook.
That's
He has changed everybody that works with him every 1 week.
There's a trust issue.
It's a signal. It's
a
not a
trust
place
issue.
to go. But I saw it, but I just refused to accept that the man was sick.
Generally, I always tell people that the equation of marriage is 1 + 1 = 1. Yeah. And if it is really what it is, I don't see why a man or a woman, because I know some women who are so macho that they beat up their husbands, but their husbands will not admit to it anyway until they are dead. So I don't see why you should raise a hand to somebody you say you love. I also, in the same vein, do not think that it's okay to really say things that are wrong, things that are debasing, things that are dehumanizing, because you can kill someone emotionally, spiritually, by the choice of words you use. Because when you use the same words at me, and then a little after that you're telling me you love me, it doesn't work. I will never believe you. If you call me a criminal and then you now say I love you, you're saying love, I'm hearing criminal in my head. It doesn't work. But while we say that, I know that you were able to compile some, screenshots of people having a conversation around this. Let's see it, if it's ready. Okay, so we saw that bit, and while it was going on, more debate was going on here. It's really, really sad because when we say kill, we look at that, simple language, simple sentence, simple whatever it is, Kill, and then we think it all ends there. It means eliminating someone, removing life. That person could just be the only person left of the mother, the father. It could be the only person left for the children. Whoever it is, you did not create a life. You don't have a right to that life. Walk away if it's worse, whatever it is. Whether it's in your office, at home, social gathering, walk away. But I still want to find out. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about divorce, divorce, so to speak. But then, is it wrong for somebody to just pack up and go?
See, I find that we started this conversation talking about femicide, and somehow we've just entered intimate partner violence and stayed there. The portion that worries me, just as bad as intimate partner violence or domestic violence, is just raw violence against women and girls. Was it just 2-3 weeks ago, a young boy of 15, I don't know what he was under the influence of, broke into somebody's house at night, looked for a pestle, smashed in the head of the young lady who was asleep in her bed in her home, and proceeded to physically assault her.
Ah, God.
The screenshots we saw are of a young boy, young man, probably early 20s, who has had 3 killings
Seriously?
to his name that we are aware of, and they're all girls. There's the story in India, also within the last 3 weeks or so. A medical doctor
in the
who
hospital
had worked a 48-hour shift and went into the conference room to take a nap was beset on by up to 15 men who so brutalized her that by the time they were done, her pelvis was shattered, her legs had been spread apart at a 90-degree angle, there was glass in her eyes, she was bleeding out the ears, her neck was shattered, her medical doctor inside the hospital. These are random acts of violence against women. We're not even talking of the one where you people know each other, so there's bad blood, and you people are trying to, that one is still there yet too. And the men will get the upper hand because, well, first of all, culturally, they are enabled to do it. Physically, I don't care what you are going to say, the average man is physically and physiologically built stronger than the average woman of his age and size, ordinarily. Ordinarily, you don't want to take a man on in a fight, ordinarily. He will best you. Now, the worst scenario so far in all the cases I've seen is this nasty story coming out of France. This one is an intimate partner violence thing. This man is 70-something.
71.
His wife is also in her 70s. This man, over a period of a decade, that's the one they have record of.
10 years, yeah.
He was consistently drugging his wife into unconsciousness at night. Then he would bring random strangers that he had fished off the internet to come and do things to this woman in her unconscious state. Now,
I always
this
wondered,
lady is not young.
Did she not know?
I said
at any point?
unconscious.
No, I mean at a point she was taking those drugs.
If you are being, she wasn't the one taking the drugs. It was being administered to her without her
You're not getting
knowledge.
me. When she wakes up, does she not see any
She
sign?
had been going to hospital because she knew something was wrong. And through the whole of this thing, she had developed 4 STIs, sexually transmitted infections. And this man would follow her to hospital. And he had a chat room online on the dark web where he was inviting men to come to his house and do this thing with his wife.
Oh, he's sick.
And it was over a period.
He's sick.
Let me land. This was over a period of 10 years, and this woman is old. If you are up to 70, you cannot be categorized as young anymore.
But they're doing
she
it
was
in
old.
Nigeria.
Yeah.
She was hang on. She was old. I wouldn't say she's particularly pretty. She's just your regular old woman.
She's drained.
and this man was doing this thing to her, and shocker, he wasn't even collecting money. If there's money, I
something
will
wrong
try
with that
to
man.
understand where it's
It's
coming.
just
something
Now,
wrong with him.
the reason I reject this whole thing of mental illness in this particular case is this. Let's agree that the person who coordinated this thing was mentally ill. He was able to access another 70-something mentally ill men
Yeah.
in
No,
one small community
those ones may
in
not
France.
be ill.
All
My dear, they're
70-something
ill,
men
ma'am.
over
My
between
dear,
the
it's
ages
illness.
of
You see, illness
29
is not necessarily
and
the kind of illness
17.
we know. For a person to come and have sex with an unconscious woman in front of her husband in her home, you have to be sick
No, you have to be evil.
and evil.
Yes, yes.
All right,
I reject the notion that in a tiny community, you were able to get 72 men who were that mentally deranged. Because somebody who is fantasizing about having relations with somebody who is unconscious is somebody who has a fantasy of doing things with corpses.
All right,
And
so
this is real.
Let's quickly touch base with fans who are watching, and the story I'm seeing here is almost getting me. I wish I can manage to get through today without crying. It says my husband does it, meaning that the husband beats her. He left him when he tried to defile my 2-year-old daughter. And God willing, he did not succeed. And this was about 10 years ago. She's very happy that we're having the conversation. God help you. I encourage you, if you're having the same experience, the best way out
Leave the
is to
marriage.
leave.
Yeah.
You don't need to hang on there. If you stay in and take it all, you die. Your children, they get to suffer it more. Good morning to everyone in the house. Growing up as a child, I always saw my father beating my mommy. But now that I'm an adult, I see beating my girlfriend or my wife or even any girl child around me as not being good. And I'm really enjoying this conversation this morning. You didn't tell us your name, where you're writing us from, but I really want to say thumbs up for you, because it's not easy to break up from such genetic characteristics. And I also think that everyone should cue into that, because if you're not okay with something, there's no need doing it to another person, because it simply says that you're okay with it when it happened. If you cried for your mother being beaten and you grew up and beat your wife, that means you actually mocked your mom when you were crying for her. And then going back, Doc, I don't know, what's your advice to women who are going through this? This person says she took a walk.
Yes, it's simple. Once a man lays hand on a woman, once, I don't care whether he's ill, whether he's anger, the woman should pack her things and leave the house.
So there's nothing like it to not happen again?
No, nothing like that. There's
You
nothing
can't
like that.
change a man.
Because for me, that is a man. Igbo man go say, nah, wait till go make me go beat that woman why I love so much. For a man to raise his hand on a woman, he has crossed the line now.
Agree.
The man has crossed the line. No matter what is driving him. If it's mental illness, I made the woman
Walk
leave.
away.
So go treat your mental illness before if we are going to consider. But usually, once men cross that line, I have a lot of friends, and I ask them, why do you do this? They say, GK, you won't understand. Okay, explain to me. In my own family, one of my sisters, the man didn't even lay his hand on her.
Just laid them out.
No. He did things that I considered as violence. I went outside, carried a truck, brought 5 of my friends, came to their house. The man was away in work. I told my sister, oh yeah, be pointing at the things that are your own. That's how my sister left the man's house. The man is passed on now. My sister is my eldest sister. So even though I was young then, talking about 1980 something, it was 81 or so, it was just a young medical doctor just starting life. But it was still in my head that so there is no reason whatsoever a man should lay a hand on a woman.
So what would a man do if a woman is, on your matter, however annoying.
I
How
know.
should
Walk
men
away.
handle it?
Walk
Yeah,
away.
because this thing you're talking about, the other side of it is that a lot of men also are going through mental torture.
Yes, yeah.
Let's accept that. But you see, if you call yourself a man, then you should be able to know how to manage it. So it's also on the other side, if you happen to have ended up with a woman, you know, a man, if you're a woman and you're married, probably in the, the Igbos will say, Kagajuajijo. That is, let's go and ask the family, are they a violent family? Is there violence in that family before you allow your daughter to go there? If you didn't do all that and you eventually end up, your wife now comes in, I always tell the men, you must start teaching yourself self-control. When you feel you are getting violent, philosophically tell yourself, I have to do A, B, C, D. By the time you do A, B, C, D, you'll get over that moment of anger that will make you do something you'll regret. A lot of men, what they do is that if their wives are talking to them in a way they don't like and making them angry, they just pick their car key and drive away.
Yeah.
That's their way of solving the problem. But I don't think it's like walking away from the problem. You come back to it.
No,
For
but most
me,
of the time, the woman is sleeping and she forgets.
No, but you see,
But you see, sorry to
but
interrupt,
you
sir,
see-
but that's a typical dysfunctional relationship
yeah,
where you cannot resolve conflict.
you don't.
The
you
problem
don't-
remains.
You don't walk away.
And that's the major problem we have with men, to be honest.
Yeah. For me, I tell my friends and my relations, if your wife is angry, talking, backing, so to speak, then it's not the time to walk away.
Talk.
Maybe because I'm blessed, I was the only son of my mother among 6 children. So probably I understand women a little bit more than men do, other men do. But you know now, women is like a woman, like a book. You finish reading, when you start reading again. So that's the way God has created all of us. So what I always say to men is, if your wife is angry with you and say things that make you angry, so why don't you go into a philosophical mood? Once my wife starts doing that, first of all, I need to sit down and listen to her.
All right, so somebody is writing in here. He's
Listen.
asking if this program can be extended for another 2 hours. And the answer is no. It's 1 hour because a lot of people here have job to do. As much as we would want to do that. So let's quickly touch base with Joy. Your final thoughts? We're almost done.
My final thought is that you have to live life. It's about you, it's not about anybody. And for somebody who says they love you and hurt you, walk away.
Okay.
I think the same for me. Sometimes I think we have to unlearn the fact that when you're divorced, it's a bad thing. Sometimes relationships don't work. Sometimes marriages don't work, and it's okay to end it. Move on. That's all.
All right, Devon?
I think the best way to prevent divorce is by not getting married to the wrong person. Do not open your eyes and marry somebody who shows you absolutely no affection whatsoever. Anybody who has shown a propensity for violence, somebody who admires people that are violent, has friends that are violent, admires his father for constantly beating his mother. You will know that from the words they speak. You can have a good. You don't have to wait until you are the person that got struck. Who are this person's role models? What are the things he admires most? What are those things he talks about most? Above everything else, is he affectionate to you? If you don't see affection, you don't see kindness, and this person shows tendencies to violence, do not go ahead and marry the person, male or female.
Okay, Dr. GK, final words?
Yes, my final
We'll
words
keep it
will be
short.
to my men folk. Make 2 philosophical decisions before you get into a relationship. Number 1, I will never, no matter what my wife does, I won't hit her. Number 2, how do you deal with it? When it happens and your wife is angry, please look at her, listen to her. There's something you did before then that is making her angry now. Solve that problem.
Oh, fantastic.
All right, fantastic. Let's end with just one more message, actually. It says, Bible says, if someone offends you, call him back or call her back and talk in love and harmony in a way that he or she will understand, not in violence, because only thing violence brings than to put you in a trouble such as death and destruction. And the only thing that brings such thing in marriage is the fact that since from the beginning, the marriage was built without proper foundation. It's exactly what you said. Either the marriage was established on financial benefits or lies, but not love. Thank you. That's Douglas. Douglas, thank you so much. I'm not sure I can take any more marriage, but any more message. This one says, okay, that he's just enjoying the conversation, and he's married to his beautiful wife and blessed with 5 kids, and he cannot hurt his wife or his children. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You taking care of your wife in that manner. And I'll just go by saying that if you cannot handle it, please don't go near the kitchen. If you know you're a man, you cannot manage your temper, please don't go. Because one day, the women are going to go to the gym and they're going to train real hard. You hit them one, they're going to hit you two. I'll see you next week.